Hey, good morning. Wednesday morning, I think. Sun trying to come out. It's supposed to be pretty today, and I think maybe some more precipitation or chance of precipitation tomorrow in southern West Virginia. Old John, Twisted World News. You know, I'm watching Fox this morning. Fox. And a commercial comes on. And it's another erection peel. And I look at this, and I look at the Tommy John's commercials, and I look at Viagra commercials, and this and all this stuff that's out there. And I watch Hollywood and the songs that are coming out in some of these entertainers and stuff. And I look at all this stuff, and I wonder. I said, I think about. I said, and you people don't know why the world's overpopulated. You don't know why we have 6 billion people in the world now. And you're wanting to murder the little bastard. You want to get rid of that little inconvenience. You want to get rid of that responsibility. I'll tell you why it's overpopulated, people. Because you're whores and queers and lesbians and homeless, all this other garbage, people. It's stuffed in people's face. That's the reason the world's overpopulated. Liberal thinking overpopulated the world. But you'd rather get rid of the bastard. You'd rather get rid of Grandma and Grandpa. Here just a few days ago, House of Representatives here in the U.S. wanted to. They voted what was it? Was it $35 billion immigration relief thingy? Illegal something or other. It ain't been that long ago. They turned down. They voted against giving seniors extra medical assistance, helping our own people out. Now you think about that. They voted against helping their own people out. California they're going to go ahead and do something over there for illegals, medical or something or other. But see, they'll come in here later and they'll say, well, we need help, we're going under. I'd tell them to kiss my friggin' butt. I'm serious. I'd tell them to kiss my butt. They started this big high-speed rail thing over there. Supposed to went from such to such, or from here to there, and then they turn around and say, well, it's going to cost too much, or it's not going to be feasible. And instead of giving it, Trump asked for the money back, to help the nation out in its debt and stuff. And the governor of California said, nah, I ain't getting it back. They come asking for help, I'd tell them kiss my butt. I said, you're going to sit there and smother in your own poop. And ain't nobody around the world going to help you either. I'd just lock them off. I would. I'd just friggin' lock them off. Say, you made your friggin' bed, sleep in it. But, I've told it and I've told it and I've told it. Hopefully a new ear, a new eye will see it. A new ear will hear it. God told me a few years back, said they're crashing your economy. Well, now at the moment, I could think, well, ignorance could crash the economy and just making wrong decisions. But then a few weeks later, he spoke to me again. He said, you're being subdued. Well, see, that brought a whole new light on what he had told me before. They're crashing your economy. That put a whole new light on it. But it's still hard to grasp or to wrap your mind around it that your own leaders would be willing to crush the economy of your nation just to get control of it. Somebody beating on something. But it's hard to just wrap your mind around that, to think that they would be that vile, that treacherous, that villainous to do. But see, I know for a fact it's so. It is so. Not no ifs, no ands, no buts. It is so. One of Barack Obama's old friends back in his college days or something said Barack had looked into Cloward and Piven. I believe it's Cloward and Piven, I think is how it's spelled. You can Google it. You can find out what the theory of Cloward and Piven was. You can Google it. You need to do that. You'll find out that, well, maybe it is possible. Because look what happened under Obama's sit-in. Obama drove this nation $13 trillion farther in debt. They cried about Trump borrowing a trillion. Trump was trying to catch up what Obama let go. Obama never really done anything for this nation. He wasted money going, he wasted money coming. I honestly believe, I really believe Obama was following Cloward and Piven. And I tell you something else I believe. If you look at all he tried to do for transgenders and homosexuals and all this stuff, all the vulgar, shameful, pitiful things that he wanted to turn loose and the things that he done, I also believe he was following Karl Marx's rule book too, his handbook. If we can pee into their minds enough, we can eventually own them. That's what Marx said when he said, if we can destroy the morals of one generation of Americans, we can take the nation. I think that's what it was. It's pitiful, people, so help me. I've thought about it, and I can't for the life of me. I cannot for the life of me see the Democratic Party getting one legitimate vote in 2020. Not after what we have seen for over 10 years. It wasn't only just Democrats when Obama was in, but it was Republicans too. They had their head up their butt and they let a lot of things go. They let it slide. And now we're paying for that friggin' slide. We are paying for that slide. It's still going on. Obama's policies, it's still locked into the minds of Congress. Remember what he said? He said, even when I'm out of office, my policies will still be on the table. And they are. The Democratic Party is still carrying out that lying, scheming, cheating, half-breed, communist, Muslim, deviant action. I can't for the life of me see anybody voting for them in 2020 unless you're just as vile as they are. Unless you are just as vile as they are. This stuff is a mess. It's a literal, shameful mess. And, you know, there's some, you know, we hear of a Republican every now and then that's got their hands in some kind of poop. But nothing like what we're hearing about the Democrats today. Those people with the liberal, the ungodly, immoral attitude, or the socialist, it doesn't mind as long as we get control attitude. Man, it's every time you turn around now we hear about somebody in that friggin' mess. That's voter fraud or campaign fraud and all this stuff. It's going around like who knows what. And the thing about it is, you know what's so sad? These people will get off the hook. They'll get off the hook. And them sitting in Congress, they'll get off the hook even though they schemed and plotted to try to get an advantage. they will get off the hook, most likely. When they ought to get someone, they ought to grab them by the nape of the neck and take them out on the front porch and sling them down the steps and watch them roll. Watch them roll down the friggin' steps. I think about Nancy Pelosi. We've never said there wasn't a crisis on the border. We've never said that. We knew there was a humanitarian crisis. We've never said there was no crisis. They said it for a friggin' year and a half, 2 years. There's no crisis. Donald Trump is manufacturing a crisis. NBC licking their butt. The crisis manufactured down on the border. CNN. Oh, they've manufactured a crisis on the border. NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, West Virginia's Charleston Gazette. Oh, he's manufactured a crisis. There ain't nothing wrong on the border. He's manufactured a crisis. Then who was it? The Washington Post? A reporter from Washington Post went down there, and I think the very same day or the very next day, he said there's a crisis on the border. People, do you realize how ignorant it makes you look to think that you support those lying liberals and scheming socialists in D.C.? Do you realize how ignorant that makes you look? What's happened to the moral conscience of America? What has happened to America that these damnable atrocities slide past us like it's normal, common things? What's happened? One abort babies at birth. Right at birth. They cut off extra assistance for our elderly. Medical assistance. Oh, we're not going to push Grandma off the cliff. Grandma is on the verge of rolling off the cliff right now. If these lying liberals, the Democrats, and these scheming socialists, the Democrats, if they get what they want, you can bet your butt Grandma and Grandpa will roll off the cliff. You can bet your butt on it. People, they've done this garbage in England for years. They've done it for years in England. I talked about the little boy about the English, the British subject, the little boy that passed away here, a year and a half, 2 years ago, maybe something. And the family's screaming, man, to help my baby, help my baby. Well, he's terminal. We don't need to fool. We don't waste time on him. Just let him go. A hospital in Italy says, hey, we'll come and get him. We'll come and get him. We'll send a plane or a helicopter part. We'll get him and fly him down here and treat him. No, just let him die. The British government said, no, let him die. Let him die. Don't tell me they won't push Grandma and Grandpa off a cliff. And don't tell me they won't get rid of you. If they get in power and you start telling them, no, that's not right, they'll get rid of you too. They'll get rid of me. Socialists has always played that game, people. Once they got in power and got rooted in to where they got in power, that's the way they play. They're friggin' right overpopulate the world, but yet they'll kill the little bastard, the blob, or their inconvenience. But they won't stop their godless, immoral actions. That's them, that's me, that's you, that's anybody that takes part in it. It's not just them. The one writer in the New Testament said, we've all had our conversations of the world in the past. We've all been there. But the Democratic Party today, it's not running the country for the good of the people. They have this wild, harebrained idea of theology that says that, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what all it says. I don't know what all it says. Every time you turn around, they're comparing something to who was it? Gillian, that woman, Jill. Is it Jill Gillian, the senator or representative up there? Gillian compared. See, what was it? How was it? They was talking about it this morning on Fox. Compared something to racism. And I hear that and I say, and I'm wondering, well, where in the friggin' world is your head? I mean, great day. Listen, people, they got by with the race card for 10 or 8 years under Obama. And it's just falling flat on its face. And they're still trying to push, oh, that's racism, every time you turn around. God. Everything. I mean, these people are spitting out stuff, oh, look at that rock. That rock's got some white looking specks on it. It's racist. Yeah, friggin' garbage can calls. Portfolio. I don't see why in the world they can't get a handle on them people and crack their friggin' skulls. They don't do nothing but interrupt other people's lives. But people, there's pitiful, damnable stuff being carried out by liberals and socialists. You know, if you don't watch Fox News or Judicial Watch or you watch one of these conservative news, so help me, if you don't watch them, you're ignorant. Because there's things going on that you hear nothing about. Your liberal media and socialist media will not tell you the truth. Oh, they'll tell you the truth when they think they've got something on a conservative that they might be able to nail them with, then you might hear some truth on it. But what about all the trash that goes on with the Democrats, these liberal and socialist Democrats, and they don't tell you about it? They won't tell you that Donald Trump's got to win here or a win here or win here in things, that his policy is turning things around and this nation getting back up on its feet. They do their damnedest not to tell you, to hide it. Why? Because it doesn't fit what they want you to hear. It doesn't fit what they want to take place. They don't want you to know the truth. If the truth comes out, and I'll be honest with you, there's going to be a bunch of people, if justice is served, there'll be a bunch of people hung or shot. I wouldn't waste a friggin' rope on them. I'd shoot them. I'd shoot them and put a friggin' 9mm hollow point bullet in their head and just let that brain explode right within their skull. Make sure to give them a subsonic that travels a little bit slower, but fix it to where that when it hits, it's just gonna just expand. Ain't no need to have to clean up a mess that someone's pervert brain left. Twisted World News, fighting for the life of every Joe on the street around the world. fighting for the actual true fairness of every man, woman, boy, and a girl in the world. The only way you can have that true fairness is for godly moral issues to come to the front and start calling the shots. Perverts, they'll say this, they'll say that, but see, their garbage going in their head, that's the reason we're in the mess we're in. That is the reason we're in the mess we're in. Because they were willing to let garbage slide. They are willing to let garbage slide. That's the reason we got a mess we're in. That's the reason Congress. That's the reason Congress right now is Congress is so help me. I've said it before. I told my brother, and it sort of blew their minds there a few years ago. I said, man, I'd hit D.C. with a nuclear bomb and go, get rid of it and start over. Just get rid of it and start over. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. You got people up there that right out in the open, they no longer hide. They no longer hide their shame. They no longer hide their disgrace. They no longer hide their anti-God, anti-moral, anti-justice, anti-American. They no longer hide their rot. It's right out in the open, and then people in America don't have enough sense to deal with it. Don't have enough friggin' sense to deal with it. That right there is enough to tell you America ain't got it all together. That one little piece of information right there, and one little thing right there, tells you America ain't got all their apples in a row. But it's not because it's not possible. It's because they're not willing. They're not willing to do what is right. Right and wrong is established in creation. They're not willing to do what is right. Well, I'm going to get off of this. I could go on and bring up stuff as it comes to mind. It won't do no good. Half of you won't listen anyway. You'll shove your head up some lying Muslim or socialist butt, but you won't take three minutes to listen to some decent, honest truth. And you wonder why the nation's in the shape it's in. You wonder why the world's in the shape it's in. Jeez. Hope you have a good one. But until we get our minds out of the rot, of the liberal socialist rot, and we ask God to help us to get our heads back on straight, it'll continue. The mess will continue. Have a good one. I hope you find favor in God's eyes and you're blessed.